Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissack and Dana Gentry.
Hey everyone, welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey Dana, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm kind of excited.
I forgot to ask you though where you're going after San Diego.
I'm going home and I'm going to go to, you know who Daryl Eves is with the VID conference?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, we're going to take our tech people. It's in Dallas. So.
Oh, yes, I remember it. Okay, yeah.
And he's also going to be the speaker at Exchange this year, which I hate. I'm going to miss that. But
oh, is he really? Wow.
Yeah, so we go back to Texas. We do a couple of days of the VID Summit, and then I head up to the region again.
Yep.
And then I go to Strategic Coach, and then I head to a regional meeting in Austin, and then I head to Italy. So I'm really.
Oh, I forgot. And who's going to Italy? You Baldini's?
Ubaldini's. We're going on a jazz cruise,
Yep.
and I'm super excited about. They're actually adding a health benefit. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's going to have a kind of a health connotation to it. So I'm all about that.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah.
Things like cooking classes. I don't know what all. Which, by the way, on that cruise with John,
Yeah.
the lady that was she a chef or what was she? She knew all about bees and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, she was she was on some kind of chef show. Anna would know exactly who she is. But anyway, she was amazing. And she gave several talks. And that was one of my favorite parts. So I'm hoping this jazz cruise has some of the same kind of speakers and stuff. So
yeah, that'll be fun. Super fun.
Yeah. So busy month. Okay. So yesterday I did I have used a speaking coach. We've had Joel on here, didn't we? Joel Weldon. Yeah, we had Joel on our podcast. He was like leading speaker, all the speaker association type awards. He's gotten them all. And
I'm totally blanking on what his face looks like right now. That's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah. And he has a little can that says, things happen in cans and not in cannots or something. It's a cute little can. And when you do a talk that he's directed you by, he'll give you one of those cans.
Oh, that's cool.
He's been around forever. His name is Joel Weldon, and he has taught many, many people how to be a speaker. So I met him at Joe Stump's thing, not Joe Stump.
Joe Polish?
Joe Polish.
Yeah.
Years ago, and kind of just bought some time with him. I was about to give a talk and I wanted some help doing it. So he kind of helps you do that. So he has these monthly calls if you want to jump on them. And the one he was doing yesterday was how to be a better speaker.
Yeah.
And so I want to share today with everybody, because here's the thing, whether you're actually getting up in front of a room, giving a speech, or you're just trying to lead people, you're always presenting.
Yep.
So I think these will qualify. I mean, these will apply to anything that you got to talk to somebody or convince someone. Could be your listing presentation, could be a presentation at your office, could be.
Oh yeah, great point.
So first thing he said is, what is my call to action?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, when I'm done, do I want the audience to, number one, do something, 2, think something, or 3, have a certain feeling? So he kind of showed a Joel Osteen clip. He said, put all the religion aside and whether you believe in what he believes or whatever. He said, but he played a video clip of his talk, and he talked about how Joel tells you to get a golden thread through your talk. That's kind of the point of your story. So he said, open with a point of a story. The point of the story is about. So basically you tell them what it's about. And so he showed Joel Osteen doing that. And Joel talked about, what was his?
He's a great speaker.
And he showed how he's gotten better and better over the years, but how many times he repeated what his golden thread was.
Oh, wow.
And it was, we don't have time for distractions.
Oh, okay.
So he said the word distraction at least 4 times, and anything he talked about, he tied back to the word distraction. So the other thing he said to do, other point he said when you're doing your story is get them into the story. In other words, don't say, I did this, or telling a story and say, but say, imagine you and I are going on a hike.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you're my imaginary friend and we're on a hike. So you want to bring the audience into the story.
Yep, I love that. That is, and I'm just sitting here thinking, like, when people do that, it engages my attention so much more.
Yes, exactly. And so one of the things that Joel did with his is he talked about we don't have time for distractions. So it made you want to listen to why is that important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's important. I better pay attention, right? So it kind of brings you to a different level of needing to pay attention to it.
Does he always suggest opening with a story? Because I feel like now so many speakers open with a story, and that's like kind of the attention grabber, maybe.
Yeah, I think all speakers say have stories in there, whether you open with them or use one to close or have one in the middle or whatever, but definitely that. He said also watch other speakers. When you see something you like in a speaker and it feels natural to you, emulate that. And I did that with Fierce Conversations years ago. I had these great audio tapes of Susan Scott doing it, and I felt like I could really connect with her. And not be too out of line with myself. So I watched her over and over again. And it was really funny because when I did my test to see if I could be approved to do it, he's like, gosh, you sound like Susan Scott. I mean, because I watched her so many times and I had emulated what I see. He said, so if you find a speaker and you feel like you really connect with them, emulate what it is about their speech or how they do it that you really like.
Yep. Great advice.
He said and he wanted us to listen to Joel Osteen and count the times that he used the word that his golden thread, which was, we don't have time for distractions.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the power of repetition is huge. Repeating the golden thread in many different ways that you can.
Yep.
Super important. And he said you can almost tie everything that you're talking about back to the golden thread.
Yep. I've never heard it said like that with the golden thread. I think that's a huge aha in itself.
And you know how in Rory Vaden stuff, you try to come up with one problem that you solve. He says try to put your golden thread to one word, which is going to be just as hard as the other. But yeah, if you can get it to one word, then that helps. And then
at some point I'll have to update you on that, by the way, because I think I have found my one word by working with them, like on the one-on-one coaching and really going deep in it. And it is, I mean, it's hard. It's a lot of work, but it does pay off. And then you really can see how like everything else ties into it.
So give me an example on how'd you figure it out?
Working through all that workbook, and then I had 2-hour-long sessions with my one-on-one coach, and we went through just deep dove into every single, and like I had to come up with the actual avatar of the person and like write the story, like write them out. And it took me like 3 or 4 times, but then when I got it, I did it. And I think this is where we're going to stick with. We've stuck here for 3 weeks now, so I have my next call when I get back from New York. But I'm trying to debate on my one word, which we'll have to see which one you like better. But I think my problem that I solve is down to these two, which both kind of mean the same thing, but either drifting or stagnation. Like you've already had some success. So you're not like brand new, don't know what you're doing, like no success. You've already had some success, but you're just drifting. Like your life could be so much bigger, or you could think so much bigger. And the way to solve it is intentionality. And just really being intentional with stuff. And I mean, intentional with your mentors, who you're around, getting in rooms, intentional with your calendar, intentional with the way that you engage with people and remember things and the gifts that it's all intentionality. All of it is. And really that's the person that I used to be, was not that person. And then through the growth over the last 10 years, it's who I've grown into. And it's not like they, are just starting, but they've had some success, but they're just stagnant. They're just kind of drifting out there. And it's been so cool to work through it. I mean, it has been like the coolest thing, but it is hard. I mean, him saying like, get it to one word, it is so hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm curious, who was your avatar?
My avatar, actually, I worked kind of through, I have it saved on my phone. I'll have to send it to you, but my avatar was a 35 to 45-year-old female. Even though I like to work with women and men, they make you get it so specific. But when I wrote the story, it really was. And I named her Olivia, and she was 35 to 45-year-old female, already had some good success, but just totally stagnant on like not really sure kind of how to keep going, like stagnant in her leadership, stagnant in her wealth, stagnant in her relationships. Just kind of everything was just kind of like mediocre, but could be so much bigger and so much better if there were intentionality in the things that she did.
It's funny that, that you talked about like the female, because a couple of things I've thought before is I can see why they have you do that, because there's certain things that you wind up wanting to talk about, but then you think, oh, but wait a minute, my audience isn't only women. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
To eliminate opportunities because it's always a hard thing to do. You don't really want to do it. And you're like, well, I already have some men. What do I do? But the truth is, I can see the benefit of doing that, because now it's real clear. Oh, these are the subjects we can talk about because I know women are interested in those. Does that make sense?
Yep. And that's exactly what they said. I mean, she said, it doesn't mean that you can never speak in a room, full of men and women, or that you're never going to have some sort of a, subscription based coaching training that men aren't going to be a part of, but your main avatar needs to be one or the other. And I struggled with the age range. They want you to keep it in a 10-year age range. And I really struggled with that. Because at first I thought it was younger, like even younger than that, because that's how I was. That's the age that I was when I was that person. But really, when I look at who I like to help and who I am helping currently, it's not that young, because it's people who have already had some success. Like they maybe have achieved something in one area. They may have a great successful real estate career, but they just aren't hitting it in their leadership role or something like that. So it's been crazy to work through it all. But it's a good.
Yeah, that's real good. I'll have to get who your coach is in case I do it.
She's great. My coach was a journalist. Journalist.
Right.
She's so smart. Like she like researches everything, and she gave me the best idea. And then it was crazy because she was like, "This is wild, Linda. This was totally a God thing." But she said, "Well, just keep kind of praying about and thinking about the one word of stagnation or drifting." And we broke out into these groups on our all day thing. And then how like you come back into the main thing, and like they had music playing until like everybody gets back into the room. And the song that was playing was drifting, and I can't think of what it is, but it's like slowly drifting away. That was the song that was playing when we came back in, and she DM'd me and she's like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, "Holy cow, that's crazy."
That's awesome. That's so cool. Well, that reminds me of when we were talking about women and men. Let's say you were going to give a talk and there were men in the room and your avatar was women. Joel gave an example of when he was not at Strategic Coach, but at Genius Network, you have to give a 10-minute talk. That's how I originally met Joel, and he helps you with it, right? Because it's really hard to be clear and concise and get your point across in 10 minutes. And so he really works with to help you that. But he talked about a lady that gave a talk at Genius Network, and it was going to be about bras. Well, 70 or 80% of the room at Genius Network is men. And so he talked about how you can take and you recognize that. He said you should know your audience so well that you recognize that they don't wear bras. But so he started out with, you may not wear bras, but you have a sister or a wife or you may have a mother, or you know what I mean? And so you tie whatever it is into those people so that everybody can be a part of it. I thought that was genius.
That is so smart. And what a great way to open up with the point, or whatever, of saying you might not wear a bra, but that is like straight to the point too.
Yeah. You all know someone who does, right? Maybe not a brother, but whatever. So he said, talk to the one person and their name is you. So you're talking to the one person and their name is you. Okay. And use words that make people want to pay attention. Like on Joel's talk, he talked about we have a limited time.
You
want to listen because, we have a limited time. I better pay attention, right?
Yep.
He said, come up with one word. 3 main things to help you with distraction. And this was Joel's talk. Make it about, but Joel tied this to what you have to do. You have to tie everything that your golden thread to make it about their needs, their fears, and their victories. So their needs, their fears, and their victories.
That's good.
So that I made myself a note there because I've been struggling. I had this newspaper reach out to me because I was in the 10X is easier and 2X and want me to come talk to their group. And I'm thinking, God, what do I have in common with the newspaper group, right? And then when he said that, I realized I need to know their needs, their fears, and their victories. So I have a friend that actually owned the local, that's married to a guy that owned the local newspaper in our area. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to call him. I'm going to do something. And I'm going to find out because I know they've been through major changes.
That was a great idea to think of, to call him.
Yes, because I'm like, okay, I got to know what their needs, their fears, and their victories are.
Yeah.
It will help me know what I need to tie this to. So I made myself a note and said, okay, if this moves forward and I do get to go do this talk in October, I'm going to find out from him.
Yeah.
Because you know what has happened to the newspaper industry.
Oh yeah.
We think we got it bad in real estate. We don't have it near bad like they do.
Yep. So true. Yeah.
Okay. So,
man, that's good. Yeah. Their needs, their fears, and their victories. I love that.
So he said, watch somebody you really like the way they speak. He said, use the word picture this so that they can, you pull them into the story.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, how do I connect with everyone in the room? He said, it's so important to know who is actually in the audience. And sometimes, let's say you were going to do a talk somewhere and you said to them, well, who's going to be in the room? And they go, oh, well, all realtors. Okay. Well, any affiliates? Oh, well, yeah, some affiliates will be there too. Okay. What about spouses? Oh yeah. Some of them, they're going to get to bring their spouse. They don't tell you the whole story without you kind of pulling out of them exactly who is actually going to be in the room, and everybody in the room is important. So,
and also, like, are they new-ish realtors, or are they, is this the top agents? I mean, there's a lot of detail you could go into.
He said using Chat GPT is huge right now. You got to give it prompts, but it comes up with some great titles and different things that.
They're using it a lot in brand builders now too. Like I mean, it's like a part of I don't know if it was in your workbook or not. Maybe it was, but okay. It's in the workbook. Like they're giving you prompts and stuff to say to Chat GPT on like a lot of it around book writing, but also around podcasting and stuff too. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty big thing.
Yeah. So it says, make yourself a note and make sure to ask yourself, what do I need to get from the host so that I give a better talk?
Yep.
It says you can use Chat GPT to take and not lose the meaning of what you've got, but shorten it. There's just so many things that you can use with it. I need to play with that a little bit more. And he said, just keep asking yourself, what are the things I want him to do? Do I want him to do something, think something, or feel something?
Mm-hmm.
The true sign of a great speaker is the action that people take after you give a talk.
Yeah.
So you have to give them the action.
Yeah.
You have to give them what you want them to do. You have to give them how you want them to think or how you want them to feel. And then you do your whole talk on getting that accomplished. Anyway, it was just really good. Joel's really, really wise when it comes to speaking and stuff like that.
I do not remember him being on the podcast.
You'll have to go back and look at it. I know we had him. I just know we did. We've had so many great people. But yeah, I know we did because I was working with him at the time on my 10-minute talk. And
gosh,
so
I'm gonna have to go back because you know who I'm thinking that he is, but I know it's not him. Is Sid? I'm getting him confused with Sid.
Yep. They're both older gentlemen, but they're not the same one.
Well, because Sid gave such great tips on like call reluctancy and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's who I keep wanting to think, but I know that that's not who it is. So I'm gonna have to go back and look for Joel.
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
that.
that's so good. That's really good. I'm excited to get more into the speaking too. That's been on my goal, but that's like phase 3 or 4 in brand builders. Like it's further down the path. But and you know now they have that thing where like they'll develop your whole keynote and stuff for you and with you and like your coach. Yes, it's a lot of people in that high capacity group are using them for their keynotes.
Yeah, I might redo it and just try to get a different coach.
Yeah. I'll have to send you mine. She's great. But yeah, it's this stuff is so important. Even if you're not speaking on huge stages, like you said, even just having this language with your clients or with the people that you lead.
With your listing presentation.
Yeah.
You leave there having them either take certain action, think a certain way, or have a certain feeling.
Yeah. And I mean, clear. With them, wouldn't you want to know their needs, fears, and victories too? I mean, you would.
Yeah, you have to, for sure. And the best way to get that is ask them great questions so that you're
that's right.
So true. You can't hit it out of the park if you don't know what you got to do that.
Yep. So true. Love it. This is great.
Yeah. I'm going to jump in on his programs every month. So I'll bring tips from it every time.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Awesome. All right. We'll have a great time in New York. And remember, if you have not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and hit that button now. If you have a topic, a challenge, or an opportunity, or a guest you'd like to hear on the podcast, reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. And the best compliment you can pass Dana and I along is to pass this podcast along to someone who you think could benefit from these conversations. And be sure and hit that 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate it to help our podcast get found more often. So Dana, have a great time in New York, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Have a great time in San Diego.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.